My friend came to me yesterday at lunch with screenshots of my boyfriend's Tinder profile. The pictures were all old photos, so I confronted him immediately, expecting to hear something like,
"Yeah."
"I forgot to delete that." Which is cool. He denied being on Tinder at all, and my friend suggested that she make an account, set it to his specifications, and see if he turns up. And there's his profile. So, this means that my boyfriend has been active on Tinder within the past 2 weeks. I confronted him with this, and he changed his story. Now he's saying that his friend has been using his account. He shows me his phone and says, "Look, I have nothing to hide." And of course the app is deleted. So I take his phone, download Tinder, log in with his Facebook, and see that he has been active, albeit infrequently. There was one girl that he tried to meet up with back in May when I was out of town. The girl gave him her phone number, and even though he deleted whatever messages they exchanged, I still saw that he had her saved in his contacts. So that's about everything that I know. He either cheated on me or planned on cheating on me while I went out of town, and I'm sure this isn't the only time it's happened. This relationship is pretty much over. He is swearing up and down that it's not true. He doesn't use Tinder and he doesn't know this girl. I'm going crazy with how much he's outright lying. He seems so sincere, but I know what I saw. I can't listen to him deny this one more time. This blew up while I was away. I'm sorry I won't be able to respond to every comment. So I did some stuff that was kind of petty and stupid today. I made a fake Tinder account, matched with my boyfriend. And he starts messaging me and immediately asks me to meet him for a drink. We agree to meet by a fountain in the center of my town, and I pack up all of his stuff in a tote bag, put on a great outfit, and went to the fountain. I stood kind of out of the way of the fountain in the shadows where I could watch the street that I knew he'd be arriving from. I was devastated, but I figured this way I could catch him without a doubt and end things quickly. All the time, he's messaging this girl on Tinder. But he didn't show up. 2 of his roommates did. We didn't speak, I don't know them well, but they watched me for a while. Figured out what was going on after a few more Tinder messages, and left quickly. So I wait a few minutes and I call my boyfriend and ask him where he's at. He says he's just gotten off of work and he's going to meet his roommate for a drink. I confront him with the fake Tinder profile, and he's dumbstruck and furious with his roommate, who he swears up and down is behind all of this. I'm at home now, just emotionally exhausted and confused. Whatever is going on with his roommates is super sketchy and creepy. Up until this point my boyfriend and I had a great relationship. Really, no red flags anywhere. If I had already been suspicious that he was cheating, this would be a much easier break for me. The most recent message on his Tinder account, when I checked it yesterday, was sent to a girl he had matched with before we met. It said, "Would you want to meet up with my friend?" My boyfriend is the kind of person whose iPhone passcode is 0000. I wouldn't be surprised if his roommates did know all of his passwords. So, his Tinder account is still matched with my fake profile. To me, that indicates that he probably isn't the person operating the Tinder profile. If it were him, wouldn't he have blocked the fake profile immediately? A lot of people have said that he probably sent his roommates to check things out for him. I can't write that off entirely, but my gut says that it isn't true. I just don't think it's very likely. When it comes to his roommates, I'm very concerned that they have been using his profile to trick women into meeting with them. The fact that his profile hasn't been deleted makes me worry that my boyfriend is in on this. So that's about where I'm at right now. I'm worried that all of them are working together to, at best, scam women, at worst, assault them, and my boyfriend is at least passively involved. Either way, I feel some responsibility to do a little more digging. I am a 39 years old male, and I lost my son in 2019 due to a chronic heart condition. He was 15 years old. It was devastating, and I just couldn't take it, especially when my family did little to nothing to support me during these difficult times. They didn't bring my son meals when he was at the hospital. They didn't let me go home and rest even for a few hours. They didn't take care of other things while I had a lot to deal with. I wasn't offered any help, just words. They'd just talk but do nothing. Despite the struggle, I've created an account for my son's college fund and kept putting whatever I could get at the time, and my son would talk about that a lot. He was depressed but always believed that he was going to get better and continue his education and attend college. I started saving money to keep him motivated and to make him feel like he could be like any other kid with hopes for a good future. He had a very close friend that's about the same age as him. They were friends for 5 years, and I can't express how his presence in my son's life helped him through the worst days. Sometimes his friend would spend the night with us and try to get my son to do activities and lighten up his mood all the time. To be frank, his friend was closer to him than his own family. He never stopped visiting and asking how I'm doing after my son's death. He'd show me handmade projects he made for my son and as a way to remember him, and we'd sometimes just sit and talk together or cry together. Last week, while I was with my family, my sister asked me what I was going to do with my son's college money. I didn't want to mention this, but since she asked, I told her that I will be giving the money to my son's friend. She barely even recognized his friend and was confused and said that my nephew deserves this money since he's family. My mom agreed that I wasn't thinking straight and that I should help the people close to me, family, and that my nephew has a right to go to college, and I was wrong for giving this opportunity away to someone else. I didn't know what to say. They kept pointing out that I was making a mistake and how my nephew will resent me if he finds out. Thing is, my nephew wasn't close to my son. I don't even know why he'd be bothered. My sister went on about not being able to afford my nephew's college. I told her this was my decision, and I felt more comfortable that way. She started lashing out, constantly texting me, constantly wanting to talk to me, and ending up arguing. When I snapped, she had my mom calling me, basically guilt-tripping me and telling me I'm wrong and that I needed to think about this. It's just too much pressure and I'm feeling lost and unable to figure out how to deal with this. I am 20 years old. I moved out on my 18th birthday and never looked back. I mostly moved out due to how strict my parents were. When I say strict, I don't mean something like home by 10 p.m. I mean, I wasn't allowed to have friends older than me, even by a few months. I wasn't allowed any guy friends. If I had a project to work on at school and got partnered with a guy, my mom would tell my teachers to make me do it alone. I was only allowed on my phone if someone, mom or dad, was there to monitor what I was doing. Weekdays my bedtime was 9 p.m. and weekends 9:30 p.m. I could only have sleepovers if it was at my house, and all of my friends have to be questioned to make sure they were clean, meaning they didn't have boyfriends, no tattoos, went to church, you get it. So you can imagine, I had literally 1 or 2 friends. By 18, I didn't have any plans. I just packed my stuff and left. My parents weren't happy and tried for months to get me to come home, but I didn't plan on it. Anyways, I landed a damn good job and was able to get my first apartment shortly after. My friend is over at my house almost every day with her boyfriend and we just hang out. I didn't cut out all contact with my parents, but I limit it to only special occasions. My mom wanted to have a Zoom family call, whatever it's called, and asked me to join. I figured, what the hell, I'll join and say hi. As I'm talking to my little cousin, in the background you could see my friend's boyfriend come into the living room area. Everyone's face kind of froze and I didn't think much of it. My mom asked who it was and I told her, and she immediately gets annoyed. She started asking why he was leaving my bedroom, which he didn't. The bathroom is the same way towards the bedroom, so I could see why it would look like he left from my room. She and my dad proceeds to ask me why I have guys at my home. Why is he 21 hanging around me? I just turned 20, but yeah, it was like I was 15 again. My mom then insists I have him leave. At this point my friend and her boyfriend hears this and goes like, WTF? I didn't know what else to do but laugh. I said, are you out of your mind, and laughed some more. I realized they were serious and said my goodbyes and hung up. Later I started getting messages that my parents are upset I laughed at them, and my family says it's in my best interest to apologize, because I was being an asshole for laughing. I laughed at them then hung up, so I thought it was rudish, especially after being told I was by my aunt as well. I'd feel terrible if I did such a thing, but someone did point out they'll never change their ways, so I think I might have to. You know, I've got no idea how to set boundaries, but I'm sure there's a few articles that can help me with that. I found out from my little cousin that my mom has been asking where I live, so now I'm kind of scared for that. Though not many know my address. If she asked the right people she might find out. I hope not. I have a friend from high school who has a teenage daughter that recently started having fainting spells. I remembered that my nephew had this issue as a child and texted in Messenger to ask my older sister about what they found out about him and if it sounded like my friend's daughter. I asked via text because she is pretty busy. She answered that he still has it and it's a condition he has with anxiety and it overwhelms his heart sometimes. An hour or so later she started talking, again, via text, about how her son and daughter, both young adults now, are mentally handicapped and have psychotic episodes. Saying that the daughter totally made up the flea issue they had in their house and her mental issues caused her to break out in hives. This made me confused as I've been with her kids and even took my niece on vacation with us so she could ride the slides with my husband. Not my thing anymore, and she was perfectly fine. Well, an hour later my sister texted me saying all of that was not her. After she had told me about her son's anxiety issue, she had went to work and her husband. Yes, her husband had pretended to be her and even Googled all this BS up. I already had issues with her husband. He has lied and has had other issues before. To say I was angry is an understatement. Her husband, who is not her children's father, was bad-mouthing and telling me her kids are mentally unstable. Carl already has a past of being like this to her kids and my sister went along with it. I told her, that was it. I'm done. I went no contact for the past month, although I kept in touch with the kids. She has a younger son, age 15, and he does not get along with her husband, either. I told the elder too what he had said so they had a heads up. My sister defended him initially but apologized 2 days ago. I told her that her husband needs to apologize for himself, though. He is a grown man. Until then my kids and husband will not be attending anything outside of holidays at my mom's house, their neighbors. My mom can visit or I can visit her, but my kids will have nothing to do with her husband. Even after the apology, he will not be family to me or mine. He is deeply homophobic, drunk every time we visit, and racist. He is the reason my sister is not someone I want to raising my kids if something happened to us. My mom told me I should let it go, because family, but my husband backs me 100%. He claims he thought I knew it was him because they share a FB account. He was looking at other women's accounts and talking to them. So my sister insisted they share an account so he would not do that. Even if it were him not pretending to be my sister, he was spreading lies about 2 people I care for deeply.